again. And Nicole is a certified nutritionist. Um, if you guys want us to talk about certain vitamins or supplements or nutrition issues, if you put them in this comment section, we will get to them, and I will ask Nicole about whatever issues or topics that you would like to hear about. If you want to reach out to me, you can get me at stevemain.com. So welcome, Nicole.
Hi, Steve.
Okay, so let's talk about vitamin D. We've talked about glutathione, so many good topics, but vitamin D, it's like, wow, it is amazing. And people don't get enough.
Nope.
So, um, uh, talk a little bit about, we were talking a little bit out off camera. Can we start with, okay, a lot of doctors, and you come from a more functional, holistic approach, but a lot of doctors are okay with a vitamin D is 30, where that's, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, but that's too low. So can you start off about what normal levels are, what some people are, and what you think they should be? I can talk about what mine is after you go with this.
So, in the medical world, they really think that 30 to 50 is the normal range. In a holistic world, I like to see my clients. I like to see them between 80 and 100 because that's a really beneficial amount. Because vitamin D is really kind of the overlooked vitamin. We don't we don't really know all of what it does out there in the real world. I think it got this really good vibe from when we all got shut down and everyone was saying, but take vitamin D, but they really didn't know why they were taking vitamin D. Um, so vitamin D, in a nutshell, is actually a pro hormone, and it helps the body produce and regulate hormones. People really have no clue it's doing that. Um, it helps so many different functions in the body. One of the biggest functions it helps, and one of the biggest hormones it helps, is testosterone. So when I have a gentleman come in to me and has very low testosterone, I always check his vitamin D first to think,
Absolutely.
where is it coming from? Why are you having low testosterone, especially if you're in your 20s to, upper 30s? Think, let's check that out.
Yeah, that is a good point. I just had a young man leave a comment about being young and needing to be on testosterone replacement therapy. Well, vitamin D could be the reason why. I mean, uh, he needs to be on it, but someone in their 20s or early 30s, their testosterone should not be low.
No.
And
uh,
vitamin D could be one of the reasons, but vitamin D works with a lot of other things to help them work better, correct?
oh, for sure. Some of the things that vitamin D does, and our common theme sometimes in these recordings is inflammation. Vitamin D really helps bring down inflammation in the body. That's why it was being thrown around during sick time and that kind of thing, was because it brings down inflammation. It helps new cell growth. So, when you've got a bunch of, because of the diet these days, if you've got a bunch of bad dead cells running around in the body, you want new cell growth, which vitamin D will help promote that. It helps. One of the things it doesn't get enough credit for also is it helps the uptake of calcium and magnesium. I always have some of my older clients come to me, and if they have, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, that kind of stuff, I always check vitamin D levels first, because it is the uptake of bringing that to the forefront. Same with magnesium. Vitamin D is always found out in the sun. That's how we generate it in our bodies naturally. So if you're not getting out in the sunlight, you're not making enough vitamin D. The other thing is that once our eyelids open and we look at, sunlight gets to our eyelids, we start producing melatonin. If we're not getting enough vitamin D, we're not getting enough melatonin. So that also inhibits our sleep patterns. So it really helps with the sleep, the circadian rhythm, which will then go into cortisol. It messes up your cortisol reactions, which is your fight or flight or your rest and digest. So vitamin D is that heavy hitter that is really overlooked, that we don't think that it's doing all this stuff for us.
Yeah, so many good points. And I'm so glad you brought up magnesium, because it's like vitamin D and magnesium make all these things work together. And your zinc and your trace minerals, they're so important. All the fat soluble vitamins are important. That's A, D, E, and K.
Yep.
They're all important, and don't they kind of all work together?
Oh, for sure. They're like on the bus together, dropping off all the nutrients and minerals all off where they should go. I always think of it as the bus driver dropping off the kids at school and where they should go properly to school. One of the other things that vitamin D does is it brings in oxygen to the lungs. So when you're an athletic, and when you're really heavy into athletics and you don't have proper vitamin D, you're not getting proper oxygen through the lungs, or immune function based on lung capacity. It's a big, one of those things that are missed, and it's so easy.
Yeah, it is. And it's just it really is. And it you and I have talked about eggs, a whole egg. What's in a whole egg? Vitamin D, A, K, all the fat
All the
soluble
fat
vitamins
soluble.
in a pretty healthy proportion are in an egg, right?
Oh, yes. The whole egg, not just the egg
Yes.
whites, the whole egg.
Yeah, all
Absolutely.
the good stuff is in the whole egg, but there you go.
Yeah.
Eggs. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
magic food, right?
Yeah. Whole foods. Focus on your whole foods so that you're getting all these minerals, nutrients, all of the stuff that we need to make our body function properly, rather than a processed food that has none of that in it, except for the bad crap.
Yeah. And we'll do another video on
Yeah.
that. We're planning on, next week one on why, and some of the stuff we're talking about is why whole foods, we have to move over to more whole foods in this time and age because of all the garbage that is in food.
Absolutely. And all the depleted soil that we're getting our food from, we need to replenish that in a different way now, because it's just overdone and it doesn't have the proper nutrients in it. So, one of the other things I wanted to touch on that we kind of miss frequently for vitamin D is the seasonal affective disorder. It's really bad mood issues when it becomes winter out. And because we live in Nevada, we have the seasons. And when it becomes dark out, we miss the sunlight. And everybody seems, oh, I get so depressed during the winter. That's because the vitamin D depletion. You're not getting outdoors, you're staying indoors. You're sitting in front of a TV for your light rather than the sunlight. If you supplemented at this point in time with vitamin D, that would probably help your seasonal disorder.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you know what? People got to know, what is your vitamin D? What should your supplementation be, or your diet in the winter compared to the summer? Are you someone who's out in the sun all the time? My wife was out gardening all summer this last summer, and her number was 120,
Mm-hmm.
not taking any supplements, but she was out in the sun every day having
Oh,
fun with her garden.
for sure. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's the same thing as me. I'm a runner. I'm very athletic. We hike constantly when it's nice out and that kind of thing. We don't seem to do that as much. We snowshoe in the winter, but we don't do that as much. I may supplement more in the winter, than I do in the summer. I don't supplement at all during the summer because I'm so out in the sun from sun up to sundown.
Yeah, and it's really, really important to know, okay, what is my summer vitamin D level
Mm-hmm.
with what my behavior is in the summer? Don't assume, oh, I'm good, and assume that you're good in the winter just because of that, because that's going to be a different number. You've got to learn your body. Everyone's different. You need to learn what your vitamin D level is in the middle of winter, where it's dark at 5 o'clock. It's going to be different. You're going to have to figure out other ways to bring your vitamin D up. So you can't just test it once. If you test it in the summer and go, okay, I'm good, and never test it again for a year, what is it in the winter? So I think that's a good idea to get your blood work done at different times of the year for this.
Oh, for sure. And no, and you said the key word, the key sentence here. Know your body. No, okay, if I'm starting to not feel as peppy as I normally am, if I'm starting to kind of fall into a mood here in the winter, take a look at that. Know your labs. Know what you're looking at. That could be a whole other a whole other recording is know your labs and know what you're looking at so that you're not just tossing them aside. Know when to take those labs.
Yeah. Well, again, everybody, vitamin D, very important. If you have questions about it, leave them in the comment section. We love to give you our opinion about it. If you guys have other views or whatever, we want to know what those are too. So again, Nicole, thank you very much for being with us. Love your expertise and appreciate what you contribute. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.